ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮೊನ್ನೆನೇ ಹೋಗಿ
An environment is space to produce food and to supply energy are all limited. Humans thrive on less than 17% of the Earth's surface, and only about 4% will grow crops. We depend on these limited resources for our survival, yet we are increasing our population as if they were infinite. This fact is at the core of our environmental problems. On this map, we'll show population growth from the year 1 CE to the present and project our growth into the year 2050. Population concentrations will be indicated by dots, each of which will represent 1 million. In areas where people are spread out and don't live in concentrations of 1 million, dots are placed in the middle of their approximate range. Historical references will be provided by images and text at the bottom of the screen.
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுமா லதா வந்துட்டால எப்படி தெரியும் உங்களுக்கு? இப்ப 78 இருக்கு. யாராவது ஒருத்தர் கொஞ்சம் இருக்கணும்.
Our population is expected to grow to 10 billion by the end of this century. Yet the Earth's size remains the same. Slowing human population growth and lowering our use of natural resources are key to reducing the impact we have on the planet. Through the decisions we make about our lifestyles, our numbers, and our consumption, we can all help preserve the health and beauty of our home.
Hope you all enjoyed the video. It's not an enjoyable video, actually. It's a video which is going to panic us. And we are going to talk about these things in the sessions today. Anyhow, hope I'm audible to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Good evening. I am Rotarian Kamal Selvi Madan Kumar, hosting the Zoom room with the blessings of the Almighty and the encouragement of all my fellow Rotarians. We are supposed to begin this wonderful session. Before I could go into the session, shall I request all who are present here to mute the system you are using. I request the members who have assigned duties to connect your system properly and unmute yourself when we call upon your duties. Before starting, please ask us whether you are audible so that the entire proceedings of yours will be heard by the audience. Please bear with us for a few seconds in between each assignment as we have to plug in for the PPTs and make the next process ready. If you wish for any queries, message us in the chat box so that we will clarify immediately. As we are flagging off this project, let me first request our President, Rotarian Lata Matthias, to call the meeting to order. Lata?
Meeting
Lata?
call for order.
Thank you, Lata.
Ah,
Okay. Thank you, Lata.
Okay.
God's grace is wrapped everywhere. It's time for the Rotary prayer by Rotarian Dr. Abhija Jaisla.
Ma'am, I am audible. I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. You are audible.
O God, creator and preserver of mankind, we thank thee for inspiring our founder with the principles of Rotary. Based on high ideals of morality, we implore thee to help us Rotarians to imbibe deeply the true Rotarian spirit and to labor incessantly for the establishment of peace and goodwill among all people, for the elimination of all bars of color, creed, and crime, for the removal of economic and social barriers, and for the proper understanding of the sanctity of human personality and the dignity of labor, so that all individuals, all families, and all nations may live in amity and fellowship, and unite round the holy feet and hail thee as thou really art, a one, true, eternal, and all loving God. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhija. Let me now request the annex of our club, Daughters of Rotarian Smiley Stewart, to sing the four-way test in their breezy, melancholic voice. Thank you, Sumi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Part of all happenings, which gives warmth and love in the minds and retains sweet memories. Please be honored by the welcome speech of our President, Rotarian Lata Matthias. Lata?
கேக்குதா?
கேக்குது சொல்லுங்க.
இன்று உலக மக்கள் தொகை தினம். புற்று ஈசல் போல் பொலபொலவென்று நாளொரு மேனியும் பொழுதொரு வண்ணமாக மக்கள் தொகை பெருகிக் கொண்டே இருக்கிறது. மக்கள் தொகையினை குறித்து ஒரு விழிப்புணர்வை ஏற்படுத்தத்தான் இந்த தினம் அனுசரிக்கப்படுகின்றது. பூர்வ ஜனன பூர்வ மரண என்று கவிஞர் காளிதாசன் பாடினார். மரணமும் ஜனனமும் இந்த உலகில் மாறி மாறி வந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றன. ஒரு பக்கம் மனிதர்கள் பிறக்கிறார்கள், மறுபக்கம் மடிகிறார்கள். ஆனால் பிறப்பின் எண்ணிக்கையோ அதிகரிக்கின்றன. இன்று உலக மக்கள் தொகை என்பது ஒரு சமூக பிரச்சனையாக மாறிவிட்டது. உலகத்தில் ஜனத்தொகை பெருக பெருக பல பிரச்சனைகள் உலக அளவில் ஏற்படுகின்றன. உதாரணமாக நிலம் பற்றாக்குறை, உணவு பற்றாக்குறை என பல பிரச்சனைகளை நாம் அடுக்கிக் கொண்டே சொல்லலாம். இதை பற்றி விரிவாக பேசவும் அதை பற்றி விளக்குவதற்காக இங்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கும் நமது சிறப்பு விருந்தினர் ரொட்டேரியன் பிடிஜி மேஜர் டோனர் டாக்டர் கே விஜயகுமார் எம்டி அவர்களை வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்பதில் பெரும் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகிறேன். ஸ்காட் காலேஜில் அண்ணன் ராஜப்பா, ரொட்டேரியன் மெரினா ராஜப்பா அவர்களின் உதவியோடு என்எஸ்எஸ், நேவி போன்ற 100 மாணவர்களுடன் வேர்ல்ட் ஹார்ட் மறக்க முடியாது. மக்கள் தொகை அதிகரிப்புக்கு 9 நாடுகள் மிக்க காரணமா இருக்கின்றன. நம் இந்தியா முதல் இடத்தில் உள்ளது. அதை தொடர்ந்து பல நாடுகள் உள்ளன. இன்றைய நாள் கணக்கின்படி 2027 வரும்போது சீனாவின் மக்கள் பெருக்கத்தை விட இந்தியா 1 மடங்கு அதிகமாய் இருக்கும் என்று அறிஞர்கள் தங்கள் கருத்துக்களை பதிவு செய்துள்ளனர். எனவேதான் மக்கள் தொகை கணக்கெடுப்பை பற்றி நாம் கவலைப்பட வேண்டியதும் கட்டுப்படுத்த வேண்டியதும் நம்முடைய கடமையாக உள்ளது. அந்த வகையில் இங்கு மக்கள் தொகை பற்றிய கலந்துரையாடலை நாம் இங்கு தொடங்கி வைப்பதில் பெரும் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைந்து இந்த விழாவிற்கு சிறப்பு சொற்பொழிவாளராக சொற்பொழிவு ஆற்ற வந்திருக்கும் எங்கள் ரொட்டேரி குயின்ஸுக்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கும் டாக்டர் சரண்யா ஆர் ராஜேஷ் எம்பிபிஎஸ் எம்டி என்ற குயினை வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்பதில் பெரும் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகின்றேன். வந்தவர்கள் எல்லோரும் தங்கிவிட்டால் இந்த மண்ணில் நமக்கு ஏது இடம் என்று கவியரசு கண்ணதாசன் பாடினார். இந்த உலகம் பல வகை காரணிகளால் மாசுபட்டு இருக்கிறது. இதில் தலையான மாசு எது என்றால் மக்கள் தொகை பெருக்கம்தான். ஏனென்றால் உலகத்தில் அனைத்து காரணிகளையும் மாசுபடுத்தும் காரணியாக மனிதன் மாறிவிட்டான். எனவேதான் 1980களில் எம்ஜிஆர் குடும்ப கட்டுப்பாடு என்ற திட்டத்தை கொண்டு வந்திருந்தார். நாம் இருவர் நமக்கு இருவர் என்று இந்த திட்டம் தொடங்கப்பட்டது. என்றாலும் மக்கள் தொகையை கட்டுப்படுத்த இயலவில்லை. இதனால் தான் நாம் இருவர் நமக்கு ஒருவர் என்று கூறினார்கள். அதன் பின்பு நாமே குழந்தைகள் நமக்கு எதற்கு குழந்தைகள் என்று அரசாங்கம் நம்மளை பார்த்தே கேட்கின்றது. எங்கள் சங்கத்தின் கருப்பு எம்ஜிஆராக திகழ்ந்து இருந்து வரும் எங்கள் அசிஸ்டன்ட் கவர்னர் ஆசிர் நெல்சன் அவர்களையும் நான் அன்புடன் வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்றுக் கொள்கிறேன். உலக மக்கள் உச்சம் தொட்டு நிற்கின்ற இந்த தருணத்தில் இந்த சிறுபறவையை கேட்க வந்திருக்கும் SRM மெடிக்கல் காலேஜ், கோகுலம் மெடிக்கல் காலேஜ் ட்ரிவாண்ட்ரம், SUT மெடிக்கல் காலேஜ் ட்ரிவாண்ட்ரம், ராஜாஸ் மெடிக்கல் காலேஜ் போன்ற காலேஜ் ஆகிய எல்லா மாணவர்களும் அன்புடன் வரவேற்கின்றேன். இங்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கும் அசிஸ்டன்ட் கவர்னர்ஸ், பாஸ் அசிஸ்டன்ட் கவர்னர்ஸ், பிரசிடென்ட்ஸ், பாஸ் பிரசிடென்ட்ஸ், ரொட்டேரியன்ஸ் யாவரையும், அதர் கிளப் மெம்பர்ஸ் யாவரையும் எங்கள் அன்புடன் எங்கள் குயின்ஸ் மெம்பர் அனைவரும் சேர்ந்து உங்கள் அனைவரையும் வருக வருக என்று வரவேற்பதில் பெரும் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைந்து என்னுடைய உரையை முடித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you, Lata. Thank you for your wonderful welcome speech. Our PDG Dr. Vijay Kumar is a very familiar Rotarian, not only in our district but also internationally. As many of our student fraternity who have come here and the guest of this Zoom room needs the introduction of the chief guest, this duty is bound by Rotarian MPHF past President Marina Rajappa, Chairman Membership Development. May I request her for the introduction briefing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we are able to hear you, ma'am. பேசுங்க.
Respected luminaries on the Zoom meeting, esteemed Chief Guest Rotarian PDG Vijay Kumar, Guest Speaker Dr. Saranya Rajesh, Rotarian Assistant Governor Abraham Nelson, past Assistant Governors from various zones, President Secretary from various clubs, Rotarians from various districts, most valuable students, cherished faculties, and my dear friends, and good evening to everyone. It is indeed a beautiful day, all soaked in a delighted frame of mind in this World Population Day. We are here to promote campaigns such as family planning, voluntary sterilization, effective birth control measures are being applied to people worldwide. I have the pleasure to introducing to you our PDG, District 321, Dr. Vijay Kumar, a renowned personality who is going to preside the threads of world population. Rotarian PDG Dr. Vijay Kumar was born in the year 1954. He finished his MBBS in Madurai Medical College. He was a first rank holder in MD, General Medicine from Madurai Kamaraj University, then successfully completed the postgraduate diploma in medical law and ethics from the Institute of Law and ethics in medicine from prestigious National Law School, Bangalore. Now practicing in Swamiyar Madam with Vijay Kumar Hospital. He served our RI district in various levels. Mainly, he was our district governor for the year 2016 to 2017. He was the chairman of Polio Plus program for 7 years. His contribution to Rotary movement at club level, RI district level, and National Polio Plus committee level with remarkable. He received many awards, meritorious award from Polio Plus, from National Polio Plus office 4 times, meritorious service for Governor citation, best chairman award for 4 times, outstanding leadership award, vocational excellence award, public image award at Singapore institution. In his professional side, he was a national president of IMA headquarters New Delhi in the year 2013. He adorned the post of Vice President of Commonwealth Medical Association, which is a congregation of all national association of 56 Commonwealth countries for the year 2013 to 2016. He is also a writer, writing articles in various medical journals. Dr. K. Vijay Kumar, MD, is happily married to Dr. Navakumari, my relative and humble loving Akka, and they are blessed with 2 sons. First son is a pediatrician and the first daughter-in-law is a gynecologist and the second son is a physician and the second daughter-in-law is an anesthetist. All doctors are jointly practicing at his hospital. Herewith, I am concluding his introduction and handing over to the training section. Thank you.
Thank you, Rotarian Marina Rajappan. Today's event is going to be a very technical and professional way. By the topic, our chief guest is about to address. Here we have him to clarify the fear threat. Sir, Vijay Kumar sir, you start.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, sir.
President of this esteemed Rotary Club of Nagarkoil Queens, Madam Lada Madhyas, Assistant Governor, MPHF Advocate D. Abraham Nelson Nasir, Guest Speaker Saranya R. Rajesh, the organizer of this mega event in a wonderful way, and my relative and my sister, past President G. Marina Rajappa, Secretary Shaima Bennett, Rotarian PHF PP Dushi Benjamin, past assistant governors, past presidents, presidents, secretaries, members, medical students, guests, uh, rotractors, interactors, and all others. Good evening to everybody. First of all, I should congratulate the organizers for organizing this mega event in a wonderful way, which is the need of the nation in the present era. As you know, Nagargoil Queens is doing excellently well from the date of chartering the club, and it is actually manned by women Rotarians who are excelling in every year. Year by year, the success of this particular club is reflected by the organizing ability of this club, which is not in par, is above the manpower. The woman power is always superior to manpower. This I learned from this particular, listening to this particular Rotary Club of Nagargoil Queens. Dear friends, once again I should congratulate Madam for organizing this event on this 11th July, that is World Population Day. I should congratulate the outgoing team for the excellent work, and I wish all success for the present team, which is led by Dr. Lada Madhyas, who is also an IMA member. As you know, the Madhyas family is the founder of IMA movement in Kanyakumari district. That is the reason I could excel. I am a follower of the Madhyas family, and especially Dr. Jayasheelan Madhyas, and that has given strength to me in IMA. And Dr. Jayasheelan Madhyas was the inspiration for me to become a IMA leader at the national level. Dear friends, the World Population Day was formed in 1989 by United Nations Development Program, that is otherwise called UNDP. It is just formed to highlight the population problems of the world. As you know, the population problem deteriorates the environment and deteriorates the development of any country. That has been learned in from several countries. This kind of events are organized in this particular day to create awareness on the evil and ill effects of population explosion, and to take necessary action to curtail the ill effects of this population explosion. To highlight the importance of family planning, the gender equality is also more important, because females are more better than men population nowadays, as this particular club demonstrates. See, we are escaping from the poverty, maternal health, and also human rights by by this population explosion awareness programs. Dear friends, 73rd Independence meeting address was delivered by Prime Minister Modi. He compared the population control with patriotism. அதாவது தேச பக்தியை இந்த பாப்புலேஷன் கண்ட்ரோலோட ஒப்பிட்டார். அது வந்து ரொம்ப முக்கியமான ஒரு விஷயம். அது எதுக்காகன்னா, அந்த பாப்புலேஷனை கண்ட்ரோல் பண்றது எல்லா மனிதனுடைய ஒரு இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஒரு டியூட்டியாக அவர் சரியான நேரத்தில் கூறியிருந்தார். Dear friends, last 2 centuries only the population explosion has happened throughout the world. Now China stands number 1, India stands number 2. China has 3 times the land mass than India, that we should remember. The dictionary meaning of population explosion is sudden and large increase in the population size. Population explosion threatens the earth by exploiting all its resources like air, water, food, plants, animals, minerals, metals, and all other things which is available on the nature's earth. Dear friends, because of the world modern sophisticated investigations and treatment, the death rate has been decreased through the world. We have to cut short the birth rate, that is the need of the day. The economic development will be will be disproportionate to the population growth. If the population growth is exploring, then the economic development will be decreasing. That is the order of the day. Olden days, parents thought to have more children to have a secured life towards the end of their life with more children. Even my parents had 9 children, and out of which 2 passed away in the early infant stage, and my parents could got 7 children, and all out of which 5 are alive now. Dear friends, historical perspectives of this particular population explosion is the need of the discussion. To reduce the family size is the need of the day for saving the resources of earth. India was the first country to adopt family planning in 1952. The fifth five-year plans, as you know, the ஐந்தாண்டு திட்டங்கள் was brought out much changes in the from 1975 to 80 with marked good results. In 1966, Family Planning Department was formed to control the family size. 1977, first national population policy developed, which gradually started giving good results. During the emergency period, 1976, forced vasectomy was done to about 100 million people by that particular government. The voluntary family planning policy was initiated by the subsequent, because of this policy, the government lost popularity, and there was a change in the ministry next time. And during 1977, voluntary family planning policy was initiated by the next government. I don't want to name the government party. Forcible vasectomy was changed to family welfare, and the things went on smoothly and in a democratic way. China started compulsory one child, one family campaign that denotes that the inference was the per capita income raised in China after this one child, one family project, but it has reduced the number of taxpayers in China. In India, the population explosion is the main cause of poverty that everybody knows. Poor people are unable to plan their family, hence they get deeper and deeper into poverty because of the unplanned family setup. Problems over population explosion has to be dealt and has to be told in to know the understanding, to understand the weightage of the problem. Widespread hunger and starvation, nutritional deficiency illnesses are the result of this explosion in population. Malnutrition in children, young people, and even cattle, you must have seen in WhatsApp and other medias in some certain countries, which is only mainly because of the population explosion. Poor people outnumber taxpayers in if there is population explosion. One of the biggest problem of population explosion is it decreases the developmental activities of the nation. The development activities, whatever it may be, infrastructural or occupational, anything, it will be destroyed. All aspects of the national developments will be curtailed. Unemployment problem always accompanies the population explosion. Lack of education, that is low literacy rate, is a result of this this population explosion. Standard of living will be worsened by population explosion. the poverty will prevail everywhere. Bad housing conditions, poor health care, Medicare is only, especially in the primary, secondary, and tertiary care level, is the end result of population growth. Poor sanitation, as you know, our 8 verticals, one of the 8 verticals is sanitation, that is also destroyed by the population explosion. Environmental challenges, which is also one of the part of verticals, is also damaged and worsened by the population explosion. This economic deterioration, that is பொருளாதார சீரழிவு வருகின்றது எதனால் என்றால் இந்த this particular population explosion இவ்வளவு ill effects உடைய ஒரு மிக மோசமான ஒரு நிலைதான் population explosion. Elimination of poverty leads to happy nation. இது வந்து everybody should understand. அந்த poverty நம்ம eradicate பண்ணானா happy nation, நமக்கு நல்ல சந்தோஷமான ஒரு நாடு கிடைக்கும். இதற்காக தான் வந்து என்ன பண்ணியிருக்காங்கன்னா A&M training centers, auxiliary nursing midwifery training center, அந்த ட்ரைனிங்ல வந்து முக்கியமான இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் they are giving to family planning. Family welfare centers are developed in almost everywhere, in all primary, secondary, and tertiary health centers, government health centers, and it is being functioning. And postpartum centers. Postpartum centers means the centers which helps the woman population immediately after delivery. They will give proper advice for contraception and procedures and everything. Fertility rate in Bihar, UP, etc. is high because of the low literacy rate. The fertility rate, அதாவது பிள்ளை பெறுகின்ற ஒரு பாக்கியம், அது வந்து கேரளாலையும் தமிழ்நாட்டிலையும் ஏன் குறைவா இருக்குன்னா because of educational status which is good. தமிழ்நாட்டை விட கேரளால அது அதிகமாக இருக்கின்றது. Family planning should be a lesson in the syllabus of schools and colleges. That is the demand by all good people who are in favor of population explosion prevention, who are all involved in such activities. The family planning rooms which is attached to primary health centers, government hospitals like Kuluthurai, Thakkalai, and all other places, all medical colleges, they are responsible for that. They plan well and advise properly. The government of India and state governments, the family health and family welfare departments are struggling for hard to do this, achieve this. They are giving incentives to those people who undergo family planning surgeries. Non-governmental organizations and self-group is doing excellent work. Family Planning Association of India is another one which is doing so much of work. Population Council of India, IMA, our IMA, Association of Gynecology, OG associations, Red Cross, Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, Citizens club, Inner Wheel clubs, they all work together to achieve the goal. Also, many international health organizations like WHO, UNICEF are giving much importance to family planning. Awareness programs should be organized then and there to all people. Family planning should be, as I told you, it should be infused to students, rotaractors, interactors, and everybody. That is the need, and that is correctly done by Marina in this particular meeting. Just to highlight and give you a carry home message. Population explosion, அந்த பாப்புலேஷன் வெடிக்கிறது அவ்வளவு அருமை, பயங்கரமான அந்த எக்ஸ்ப்ளோஷன் வார்த்தையை வந்து வெடிக்கிறது. அது மனித வளங்களை அழிக்கின்ற ஒரு மிக மோசமான ஒரு நிலை உண்டாக்கக்கூடிய ஒன்று. சுற்றுப்புற சூழலை அழிக்கக்கூடியது, பொருளாதார வளர்ச்சியை கெடுக்கக்கூடியது, தொழில் துறை மற்றும் வேலை பார்க்கக்கூடிய கண்டிஷன்ஸை நசுக்கக்கூடியது, சுற்றுப்புற சூழலை அழிக்கக்கூடியது, வெதர் கண்டிஷன்ஸ் அதாவது வானிலை மோசமான சூழ்நிலையை உருவாக்கக்கூடியது, புவி வெப்பமடைதல், கடல் மட்டம் உயர்தல் மற்றும் மழை மற்றும் காடுகளை அழிப்பதால் மழையின்மை, எரிபொருள் மற்றும் எனர்ஜி ஷார்ட்டேஜ் அதாவது எனர்ஜி ஷார்ட்டேஜ் மற்றும் உணவு மற்றும் சிறந்த பல காரியங்களை தண்ணீர் வரைக்கு நமக்கு நம்மிடமிருந்து எடுத்து செல்லக்கூடிய அளிக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு 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 மோசமான ஒரு விளைவை உண்டாக்கக்கூடியது. அதுபோல கழிவு பொருள்களை அதிகரிப்பது, கழிவு பொருள் மேலாண்மையை சீரழிப்பது போன்ற பல விஷயங்களை செய்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. மேடம் சொன்னது போல முன்னாடி நமக்கு லதா மேடம் சொன்னது போல நாம் இருவர் நமக்கு இருவர், அடுத்து நாம் இருவர் நமக்கு ஒருவர், நாம் இருவர் நமக்கேன் ஒருவர் அப்படின்னு நிலை வரக்கூடாது. இருந்தாலும் ஒரு ஃபேமிலி வர வேண்டும். ஆனா இந்த முக்கியமான ஒரு டாபிக்கை நாம் கேட்டு நிறுத்தி விடக்கூடாது. இளம் நெஞ்சங்கள் இங்கே அமர்ந்திருக்கின்றன. You all should spread the message of population explosion and its ill effects to all other concerned people as in a group, and you should see that the population explosion should be curtailed and we should have a peaceful and contented life in the future years. That is the need of the day, and I am sure the next speaker will say, I have highlighted the importance of important threats. The next speaker will say, she is a doctor and she is a gynecologist working with the fertility clinic and all, and she will explain to you about the methods of contraception, which is the need of the day. You learn everything and practice as well as spread the message to others, because it is the need of the day, and it is this particular topic which she is going to deal is concerned with the health of the individual, health of the family, health of the nation, and health of everything, health of the world. So such important topic is being selected on this appropriate day, and once again I congratulate the organizers for selecting this topic and giving me a chance to highlight all these things. Thank you one and all. Thank you especially Marina and Dr. Lada. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very informative statistical data of the threat of the world population and the strategic plans to maintain a balance of the living space. May I now request the district chairman from Maternity and Child Care, Rotarian PH of past President Rotarian Tushi Benjamin, to introduce our guest speaker. Before she introduces, I'm very happy and a proud teacher of the guest speaker today, and amazed to see this beautiful angel accredited so very high in her caliber. I'm very happy that she is amidst us. Now it's time for Tushi to introduce the guest speaker.
Am I audible? Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
ma'am,
audible,
yes.
Tushi.
Distinguished guests, my fellow Rotarians, professionals, guests, and dear friends. As a chairman of Maternity and Child Care, I feel privileged and honored in being a part of this wonderful session. If we do not voluntarily bring population growth under control in the next 1 or 2 decades, nature will do it for us in a brutal way, whether we like it or not. As Hillary Clinton rightly said, you cannot have maternal health without reproductive health, which includes contraception, family planning, and access to legal safe abortion. We have she has presented several national and international papers in high-risk obstetrics and reproductive medicine. She hails from Dindigul, her father being a businessman and her mother a homemaker. She is married to Dr. Rajesh, consultant in diabetics and endocrinology, also trained in UK. She is a blessed mother of 2 angels. We are happy in introducing to the Rotary members and medical fraternity to deliver the technical session.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to the members of the Rotary Queens Club from Nagarkoil. Good President Mrs. Hemalata ma'am, Marina Rajappa ma'am, and Dr. Vijay Kumar sir, and all the medical students who have joined this meeting today. First, I would like to thank ma'am. She was my teacher, and she's more than a teacher. She was such a good inspiration and a very good human being. And I still cherish the days that I was.
You start with saying, I'll process.
Pardon, ma'am?
You start the session. Yeah, the slide is posted. The slide is posted.
Okay. So today's topic is update on contraception. Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am. Next slide will go, ma'am.
Okay, now clear.
Yeah. So today is the World Population Day. July 11th, as you know, is being established by the UNDP in 1989 as the World Population Day. 1987, the population bring awareness and the awareness regarding family planning, not just family planning, but also about the gender equality, poverty, maternal health, and human rights. Next slide, ma'am. See the graph. In 1800s, the population was around 1 billion. And when you go to 1950s, the population is 3 billion. Within a span of 40 years, from 1950 to 2000, the population has increased to nearly 6 billion. That is, within a span of 40 years, the population has doubled. So next slide, ma'am. The rate of growth of population was high during the years 1960 and 70. As you can see, it was around 2 to 2.2%. But rather in 2020, we can see the population growth is decreased. It's around 1.05%. And it is supposed to decrease over the few years as it comes. Next slide, ma'am. So effective family planning and effective schemes taken by the government of various countries has brought in this kind of decrease in the growth rate. There was an increased tremendous change during the Industrial Revolution between 1950 to 2000. And on, due to effective family planning measures, the rate of growth has decreased. So what are the elements of family planning? Why do we need family planning? Family planning is required for proper spacing between children. The ideal, as a gynecologist, we say at least minimum of 3 to 4 years of difference between each child, and proper timing of pregnancy. Before the family planning, we used to have lots of teenage pregnancies, and women in the 40s and 40s used to have their babies. So proper timing of pregnancies and number of pregnancies, as sir and madam were telling, like, you know, initially it used to be naam iruvar namakku iruvar, and now it comes naam iruvar namakku oruvar. So these are the basic elements of family planning, for the spacing, proper timing, and to, you know, number of pregnancies. Next slide, ma'am. So in this seminar, I'll be talking about contraceptives. I'll be touching the practical points of the contraceptives. It's a very vast topic because, you know, there are so many contraceptives, and, you know, there is a different failure rate for each contraceptive. So I'll give a general overview of all the contraceptives that are well known, and we'll be touching some clinical points on it. So what would be an ideal contraceptive? An ideal contraceptive should be safe, effective, acceptable, and it shouldn't be expensive. It should be reversible. It should be simple to administer, and the patient need not have to go to the medical advice too often to take the contraceptive. It should be long lasting, and it should be independent of coitus. So these are the few of the elements, or few of the characters of an ideal contraceptive. Next slide, ma'am. There are various types of contraceptives. Chart, you can see the contraceptive of male and female can be divided into temporary and permanent type. The temporary contraceptives can be barrier or intrauterine devices. Permanent is sterilization, what we call the tubectomy in females and vasectomy in males. Next slide, ma'am. Now we'll see the temporary methods. In barrier methods, we have the condoms for males and diaphragms and cervical caps for the females. For hormonal methods, are the most commonly used contraceptives are known, and mainly the pills, the oral contraceptive pills, implants, patches, newer ring. These are the newer contraceptives. And we have the emergency contraceptive and injectables in hormonal contraceptive. Intrauterine devices, which could be the copper T, are hormone releasing intrauterine devices. So these are the temporary methods of contraception. Next slide, ma'am. Now let's look about each contraceptive one by one. Now, the first thing is the hormonal contraceptive. Almost all the hormonal contraceptive have a similar kind of mechanism of action. It prevents the ovulation, prevents endometrial lining building up, and it also thickens the cervical mucus. Thereby, the sperm transport is the speed of the sperm transport is decreased. So this is the basic mechanism of all the hormonal contraceptives, that includes the injectables and the pills and implants. Ma'am, next slide, ma'am. So the hormonal contraceptive have some advantages and disadvantages. It's most widely used contraceptive, and it's called the long-term reversible contraception, which we call it as LARC, L-A-R-C. And it's very effective, and it's got a very low failure rate when compared to the barrier or the other methods. And it requires no planning before intercourse, unlike the barrier methods where in condoms you have to apply it just before the intercourse. And the disadvantage being you need a health professional advice before you take the condom. And some hormones have got some side effects. Not everyone can take it. You should be eligible to take the contraception, and it does not prevent from sexually transmitted diseases. So that is one major disadvantage with hormonal contraception. But otherwise, it's one of the most effective and reversible contraception. Next slide, ma'am. Coming to pills, these are very well-known contraception, very commonly used, and the pills are one is combined pills or progesterone only pills. Basically, the two hormones are the only there in the pills and all the hormone contraception is estrogen and progesterone. And combined pills has both estrogen as well as progesterone component, whereas progesterone only pills has only progesterone component. The combined pills are divided into further 3 types: monophasic, biphasic, and triphasic. Next slide, ma'am. So monophasic pills. So what are monophasic pills? So these contraceptions are taken during 21 days of the cycle. Okay, so from the whole of the 21 days, the amount of estrogen and the progesterone is same throughout the cycle. So that is why it's called monophasic pill. The dose doesn't change. It's same throughout the 21 days. These monophasic pills are again further divided into low dose and very low dose. Low dose means where the ethinyl estradiol dose is between 30 to 35 micrograms, and dose is where it is between 15 to 25 micrograms. Contraceptives have very low dose ethinyl estradiol between 15 to 25 micrograms. The contraception, as you can see, Mala N and Mala D are very old contraceptives, given as free of supply in the PHCs, and it's widely available. Overall L is a common contraceptive, overall L and G that is commonly used, which has ethinyl estradiol and levonorgestrel. And Yasmin, that which you can see in the down of the slide, which is ethinyl estradiol plus drospirenone, which is a newer progesterone. So these are the few of the monophasic pills where the dose of the contraception is same throughout the 21 days. Slide, ma'am. So coming to the biphasic and triphasic pills. So biphasic means the dose of estrogen is fixed. As you can see in the tabular column, the ethinyl estradiol dose is 35 from day 1 to day 21. Whereas the progesterone dose is increased. In initial first 10 days, the dose is only 500 micrograms. And after that increases to 1000 micrograms. So this is a biphasic pill where the dose of progesterone is increased in 2 successive phases. And in triphasic stage, the ethinyl estradiol dose is increased in the mid-cycle between the 7th to 12th day, and the dose of progesterone, the norgestrel, increases between day 1 to day 21. 70 and 125. So these difference is there because like in the first monophasic phase, the dose is given throughout the whole of the cycle. In biphasic and triphasic pills, wherever the dose higher is required, it's being delivered like that. So, it's the recent contraceptions and recent pills are biphasic or triphasic. Next slide, ma'am. So now I'm coming to progesterone only pills. So the advantage of progesterone only pills is it can be given wherein the estrogen content is contraindicated, or for women with postpartum or recently delivered or recently aborted, or women who are breastfeeding, where the combined oral contraceptive is contraindicated. For these women, progesterone only contraceptive would be ideal. And the disadvantage being, it can have little abnormal bleeding, but it is not as effective as the combined oral contraceptive pills. So there are 4 generations of progesterone, as you can see in the left-hand side. The first generation is norethindrone. Second generation is levonorgestrone. The third generation is desogestrone. And the fourth generation is drosperinone. The recent Dynogest and drosperinone are available in the recent formulations of the pills. Next slide, ma'am. So side effects, what are the side effects of these pills? So the estrogen has got a separate kind of side effects, and the progesterone has got separate kind of side effects. Estrogen causes nausea, vertigo, breast tenderness, jaundice, and it exaggerates the migraine. It is contraindicated in women who are more than 35 years old, who are smokers, and who have previous history of deep vein thrombosis. Whereas progesterone is known to increase gain. It might cause vaginitis, amenorrhea. It can also cause in severe side effects as in MI or cerebrovascular thrombosis. So the recent progesterones do not cause weight gain. That is, the 4th generation progesterones don't cause. As we saw, the first and the second generation progesterones are known to cause weight gains, but in the recent progesterones, the weight gain is not very. Oral contraceptive pills is one of the best prescription for a gynecologist. Not only for contraception, it has got other benefits. When a woman comes with, dysmenorrhea or, pelvic inflammatory disease and PCOS and irregular bleeding, in all cases, the most common prescription will be oral contraceptive pills. So the oral contraceptive pills have got other benefits other than just contraception. As we can see, dysmenorrhea, acne, hirsutism that we see in PCOS, it improves the anemia as, there is the excess bleeding is reduced. So it improves the anemia. It causes cycle regulation. It also reduces the risk of colorectal cancer, endometrial cancer, pelvic inflammatory disease, and osteoporosis and osteopenia. So these are the other benefits of oral contraceptive pills. Next slide, ma'am. Evra patches. These are widely used in the Western countries. These are nothing but transdermal patches, which has a sustained release of hormone every day, and it is a weekly application. There is a 1 week free patch-free period. So you apply this patch for 3 weeks and you have a 1 week patch-free period. It's got a good compliance as it's a weekly application, whereas in oral contraceptive pill, you're supposed to take the pill every day without failure. But here it is just weekly application. So the application is better and good compliance. Effective mode of contraception. It's 98% effective. It is supposed to be stuck in the arms, thighs, or in the buttocks where the skin surface is dry and it's hairless. And there are some disadvantages with these patches. It is little expensive, not widely available in India, but very famous in the developed countries. The other disadvantages being it can get some skin rashes, it can cause breast tenderness, and it doesn't work for women who are very overweight or obese. If the woman's weight is more than 90 kgs, then it's not advisable to give them these patches. Next slide, ma'am. Injectables, depot medroxyprogesterone acetate, which is one of the commonly used injectable contraceptive. This is an intramuscular injection. It's given once in 3 months. So if you can take this shot once in 3 months, and the 3 months there will be a contraceptive coverage. It's very effective. One of the major side effects with this injection is you can cause weight gain. And when given more than 6 or 7 doses, it can cause reduced bone mineral density. The bones can become weaker. So we need to check the number of injections. It can't be given for a very long time. So we need to check that. And this drug is also very useful in women who have increased vaginal bleeding during their menstruation. So it's also given as treatment who have menorrhagia. Next slide, ma'am. Emergency contraceptive. It is used when there is an unprotected intercourse, when a person has missed their contraception, or when there is a breakage or slip in the condom. So that is when this emergency contraception is used. It's usually valid within 72 hours of unprotected intercourse. There are two kinds of regimen that we can use during the unprotected intercourse. One is levonorgestrel, which is a progesterone, second generation progesterone. A single dose of 1.5 mg can be given, or a double dose of 0.75 mg 12 hours apart can be given, 2 doses. The second regimen being ethinyl estradiol 50 micrograms plus levonorgestrel 0.25 mg can be given as 2 doses. There is also another drug called ulipristal acetate, which comes as name ELA1, that is also used as an emergency contraceptive. Apart from this, copper T is a very good emergency contraceptive, and it is valid up to 5 days of unprotected intercourse. Next slide, ma'am. Next, coming to the intrauterine device, and it's very commonly used in India. So let's see the mechanism of action. So it implantation, prevents the sperm transport, diminish sperm survival and capacitation. And in the picture, you can see the correct position of the intrauterine device and how it is placed. The thread that you can see below, and this is useful check for the gynecologist to see whether the thread is in position or not. Next slide, ma'am. Contraindications of intrauterine device. Any kind of infection, any active infection, it is not advisable to use the intrauterine device. Any kind of pelvic inflammatory or active vaginal infections, and if the patient has got risk of sexually transmitted disease, or the patient is already suffering from abnormal uterine bleeding, we are not supposed to use the intrauterine device. Pregnancy is a contraindication. If the patient has got copper allergy or Wilson's disease, which is very rare, we don't use the intrauterine device. Next slide, ma'am. Copper T, a very well-known contraceptive in India. It's very effective. The effect is up to 10 years. We have two types of copper T. One is still 10 years, the other works till 5 years. It's got a good compliance, very cost effective. It's also available for free in the government PHCs. The one disadvantage is many patients come to us, they have intermittent menstruation. That is, they bleed between the periods. They have some spotting in between. The first 6 months is little difficult with copper T, as they have little bit of spotting in between. Otherwise, if they go through the 6 months, usually the problem for next 5 years or 10 years. And other thing is, it does not prevent the sexually transmitted disease. So this is one disadvantage with the copper. Otherwise, it has got a very good success rate. The failure rate with copper T is very less. Next slide, ma'am. Next is hormone releasing intrauterine device. The very well known hormone releasing intrauterine device is the Mirena, or the levonorgestrel releasing intrauterine device. It's basically a progesterone releasing device. It's very effective, and it contains 52 mg of levonorgestrel. Every day it releases a small dose of 20 micrograms of levonorgestrel. It's very effective for patients with bleeding. Some call it a magic stick as well, because this contraceptive is given as a treatment for women with menorrhagia, that is excessive bleeding. And there were studies done where patients required hysterectomy. The Mirena was given, and they didn't need for doing a hysterectomy. So the Mirena itself, was very useful for them in prevention of the bleeding. So what does it do? How does it act? It prevents the endometrial proliferation. It thickens the cervical mucus. It inhibits the sperm motility. So these are the mechanism of action, and it's supposed to be a very good drug. Next slide, ma'am. Barrier methods. For male, it's condoms, and for female, we use diaphragms and the cervical cap. Barrier methods are very useful as it prevents the sexually transmitted diseases. Next slide, ma'am. So condoms are well-known contraceptive in India. It's freely available. It comes as a trade name called Nirodh. It's freely available in all small centers and all PHCs. The major advantage is it provides protection from sexually transmitted disease. It is inexpensive, and the disadvantage being it can cause breakage, slippage, and thereby increased failure rate And other thing is it needs to be inserted during the intercourse. So these are some of the common disadvantages, and the failure rate is around 10%. Next slide, ma'am. So diaphragm and cervical caps. So these are for the women. Similarly, like condoms, it is used by the women just before the sexual intercourse. It can be inserted into the vagina 3 hours before the sexual intercourse. It prevents the sperm from entering the cervix, and thereby the contact of the sperm and the egg doesn't happen. It is best when used along with the spermicide gels. So it can be kept inside the vagina until 6 hours after the intercourse. So this also prevents the sexually transmitted disease. So when a male wears a condom and a woman also wears a cervical cap or a diaphragm, then there is a better chance of preventing the sexually transmitted disease. Next slide, ma'am. So permanent method, it is being the sterilization is the only permanent method. In female, we can do it by mini laparotomy, which is how it was done few years back. And even now it is being done. Puerperal sterilization is done after delivery. A small scar is made in the abdomen and the tubes are ligated. The most commonly used method for this is Pomeroy's technique. And we also do laparoscopic technique, which is widely done these days. For male, vasectomy, which is a very simple procedure, but somehow it is not done by many of the males. I think we should, increase the awareness for males doing vasectomy. Next slide, ma'am. So laparoscopic sterilization, there are different ways in which we can do the laparoscopic sterilization. One is we can apply the Filshie clips on the either side of the clips or the Halka clip. Filshie clips are better in application when compared to Halka clips. It's widely used in the Western countries. And there is a small chance of slippage of this clip. But good when the patient wants recanalization. If they think, they want a child, if they've lost a child and they want another child, then these clips can be removed and then they can carry on with the next pregnancy. The other way of laparoscopic sterilization could be with monopolar cautery, which is commonly used in India. Monopolar or bipolar cautery, that both the tubes are cauterized and it is ligated. So that is the commonly used method for laparoscopic sterilization. Natural methods could be abstinence or having intercourse during the safe duration of periods. And for women who are having irregular periods, it doesn't work very well. And you have to maintain a calendar dates for it, and you have to have intercourse during the safe period. And withdrawal method, which is also called the coitus interruptus. These are few natural methods, but it's not very reliable. Next slide, ma'am. Now let's see some of the newer contraceptives that are in the market. Assure, this is a kind of a sterilization. You can see a small metal coil in the picture there. It's around a 4 centimeter long coil, which is inserted into the fallopian tubes through a hysteroscope. And the tubes get blocked when the scar tissue is formed. As the scar tissue grows, the tube gets blocked. This is a newer kind of a contraceptive, not widely used in India. It's still in the very initial phase. It's been few years since it has been into the market, but it's still not widely used. Next slide, ma'am. So Gynifix, it's a frameless intrauterine device, just like a copper T, but then it doesn't have a frame. So it has got a better fixation. In copper T, sometimes after applying the copper T can slip off, or it can come, it can fall off, or sometimes there are cases where it has got it has perforated the uterus and gone into the abdomen. Those kinds of disadvantages are not there with the Gynifix. You can see few copper beads in the Gyni stick. There are around 6 copper beads of polypropylene, and the one side of the thread is knotted, the other side is embedded into the myometrium. So it reduces the dysmenorrhea, and it can also be used in women in nulliparous. Next slide, ma'am. So the Nuva ring, it's a new contraceptive. It is widely used in developed countries. It is nothing but a soft, transparent ethinyl vinyl ring. It releases hormones. It is inside the vagina for 3 weeks, and it is removed for the last week. So there is a ring-free period in this. And the systemic hormone levels are reduced, unlike oral contraceptive pills where you take through your orally and there is an increase hormonal levels in the blood. Here it targets the local region. So it is quite effective, and it's around 98% effective, and it's a newer contraceptive. Next slide, ma'am. Female condom, this is not widely used, and it is Path Women's Condom is a common name for the condom that is there. It's made of polyurethane condom pouch. It increases the responsibility of the female also to prevent the sexually transmitted disease on her side. Next slide, ma'am. Saheli, it's a non-hormonal contraceptive. It is also called as centchromin, or the pharmacological name meloxifene. It's a selective estrogen receptor modulator. It acts directly on the estrogen receptors. It prevents the implantation of the fertilized 30 mg oral twice daily for 3 months, followed by once a week. It's a very effective contraceptive, and it's also available widely in India. Next slide, ma'am. Implants. Implants are newer contraceptives. It is very well known in developed countries. You have to, under the skin, the implants are kept through a special kind of injectable gun. And the Norplant and the Implanon are the well-known implants. Around 6 rods are kept inside under the skin. Your usually kept site is under the arms. It's a progesterone-only contraceptive. And around 36 mg of levonorgestrel is present in the Norplant. And its survival rate is so once kept for 5 years, you may not have to worry about it. Implanon is a single rod, which is also a hormone-releasing contraceptive, and its lifespan is for 3 years. And it's very effective contraceptive. Next slide, ma'am. So male newer contraceptives are not very much used, but for completion's sake, I'll just mention the names of the male contraceptives. GnRH analogs have been given. Depot, Pravira, and testosterone implants 3 monthly. Intra-vas devices have been kept inside the vas difference of males, and male vaccines are under research. Next slide, ma'am. So let's see about the eligibility criteria. This is the eligibility criteria by the RCOG, and so to determine which contraceptive can be given in which patient. Suppose the patient is having some medical condition and you want to choose the contraceptive, you have to see which category the patient falls into. Category 1 is where there is no restriction for the use of this method. Category 2 is a condition where the advantages outweigh the risk. Category 3 is there is a good advantage, but still you need to get an opinion from the expert. You have to take a specialist opinion, then only the contraception can be given in that particular condition. And category 4 is where a condition which represents an unacceptable risk if this method is used. So it's totally contraindicated. You can't use the contraception in this particular condition. Next slide, ma'am. So, have any doubts, or do we carry on with the case scenarios? From medical students, I would be happy if there is any doubts to be cleared regarding this. Were you able to follow the slides?
It is an interactive session. Dear students, medical students over there, you are requested to ask questions if you have any doubts regarding contraception. If you have doubts, please unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, thanks for the message. Someone has messaged, it's clear.
Yeah,
Now let's see some case scenarios. We have a 35-year-old non-smoker who has not had any history of deep vein thrombosis. She is para 2, live 2 by normal vaginal delivery. She is not sterilized. She now comes to your clinic with a chief complaint of excessive bleeding PV for the past 6 months. She changes around 6 pads per day. Her cycles are usually regular. On examination, the uterus size is normal. Her cervix is healthy. And the ultrasound shows a normal study with an endometrial thickness of 9 mm. So can somebody tell me what would be the ideal contraceptive for this patient? You discuss, it's nothing wrong. If something is wrong, it's just a discussion session. So anybody can, come out with your answers.
Medical students, are you there? Could you please answer the question of Dr. Saranya? I hope I am audible to you all. Copper T. Somebody has.
Someone has messaged copper T. But copper T doesn't help with abnormal uterine bleeding. As I told you, copper T can cause intermenstrual bleeding. Copper T is good for contraception, but it's not a very good treatment for abnormal bleeding. Here in her complaint now is excessive bleeding PV. So that is her complaint. Second message, somebody has messaged me hormonal. As you can see, what hormonal? That should be very specific, whether it's estrogen, progesterone, whether it's in pill or whether what hormonal injectable, which kind of hormonal contraception would you suggest? No, it's not just estrogen, whether it's oral contraceptive pill or some other hormonal contraception you would suggest for this patient. Okay. Somebody has mentioned it is estrogen and progesterone combination pill. She is a 35-year-old woman. It can be given. It's not that she doesn't have a very great contraindication, but since she's 35, I would say, like, you know, it has to be used with little cautious. It has to be used with little caution. And for her, the best contraception would be Mirena, because it's a progesterone releasing contraceptive. And once inserted, it can be kept for 5 years. It acts as a very good contraceptive. And as I told you, the indication for hysterectomy is reduced with Mirena. So, you know, the Mirena would be a very good contraceptive. A levonorgestrel releasing intrauterine device would be ideal in this patient, as it would act as a contraceptive and also reduce her bleeding. Next slide, ma'am.
Saranya, there is one Shakti Muttarasi raising her hand. Could you please answer? One Shakti Muttarasi is raising her hand. Could you please answer her?
Yes, please.
Shakti, unmute பண்ணிட்டு கேளுங்கம்மா. Shakti, mute எடுத்து விட்டுட்டு கேளுங்க. Shakti,
hello,
are you
ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes,
hello, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm able to hear you. Tell me.
Ma'am, why can't we go with implants, ma'am? Is it
implants
good or not
good? Implants is also progesterone releasing. It is good, but Mirena is more effective as it directly reduces the endometrial thickening, because you put it inside the uterus and her 9 mm is her thickness. So, you know, Mirena directly reduces the endometrial thickness. Implants also can be used. Basically, we give the option to the patient, and, you know, whichever we have to decide depending on which the patient is also comfortable.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions? Okay, I think we'll
Thank
go
you,
to the next case scenario.
Do any one of you have questions? No? Shall we pass on to the next slide? Okay. Sharanya, for the next slide.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So,
yes, ma'am. Yes.
So we have a 21-year-old professional. She's unmarried. She's not in a stable relationship. She has changed 3 partners in 1 year. Has come to you for an emergency contraceptive. She has had an unprotected intercourse 4 days back. So which would be the best emergency contraceptive that you would suggest for her? Options being levonorgestrel contraceptive, ulipristal acetate, or copper T. So can someone answer the first question? Which would be the best emergency contraceptive for this patient?
Is it copper T, ma'am?
Yes, correct. Can you explain why copper T? Can you please explain why it is copper T?
Tax for 5 days.
You're not audible.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Copper T is a long-term contraceptive for her, so that it actually protects from the ejaculations of the female. I mean, the male sperms.
Can you be little louder? Can you be little louder? Hello? Okay, so the levonorgestrel and the uriplestrol acetate are said to be protective till 72 hours of unprotected intercourse. But the copper T is valid up to 5 days. Yeah, somebody has correctly mentioned in the message. Yes, it is 5 days from the unprotected intercourse. Until then, the copper T is effective. So for this patient, what would be the long-term contraceptive ideal for her? It's again copper T that would be helpful for her in long term. But anything else? Do you want to tell anything else from the history? Apart from copper T, what other advice would you give her from listening to her history? Anyone? Yes, T agreed. Apart from copper T, what other advice would you give this 21-year-old professional regarding her contraception? If you could read again the history, you can give me the answer. No one? Okay, so she's not in a stable relationship. I told you she has changed 3 partners in the last 1 year. So she is at a high risk of sexually transmitted disease. So she definitely needs a barrier contraception, a condom, or a cervical cap or a diaphragm. If she can use it, then she can prevent herself from sexually transmitted diseases, as copper T is not going to help her with sexually transmitted diseases. Next slide, ma'am. So we'll go to the third case scenario. Next slide, ma'am. Okay, we have a 37-year-old divorcee. She is a nullipara. She's got regular cycles with moderate flow. She gets severe headache often, sometimes with aura. She's got no history of diabetes or hypertension. She is in a new relationship now, but she's not in an intention to marry or get pregnant as of now. She's come to you for a contraception advice. What would you suggest her? Can someone answer the question?
Are you able to answer doctor's question?
Contraceptive pills. What contraceptive pills? Is it estrogen plus progesterone or only estrogen?
Somebody has answered hormonal pills, Saranya.
Pardon? Hormonal?
Somebody has answered hormonal pills.
Yeah, hormonal specific, estrogen or progesterone. That is very important. Okay. Yes, progesterone is right. Because here the patient has got migraine. When you say headaches with aura, it's migraine. Estrogen is supposed to worsen the migraine. So estrogen is a contraindication in this patient, and also she is 37-year-old. So you're not supposed to give any pills containing estrogen. So the ideal would be either progesterone only pills, or again she can go for Mirena or other implants, or where only progesterone is only being given. So estrogen is a contraindication, and that is why I have mentioned this slide. Any woman who is more than 35, who's a smoker, who's got migraine or previous history of deep vein thrombosis, you're not supposed to give estrogen pills. Next slide, ma'am. Okay, we have a 25-year-old para 1 live one. She delivered baby 6 months back by normal vaginal delivery. She's feeding her baby and she's intending to feed her baby for another 6 months. She wants to go to her husband's house after all the pampering from her mother's house. So before going to the husband's house, she seeks advice of contraception. And what would you suggest her? So this female who's delivered 6 months back, who's feeding her baby, has come to you. Somebody has answered copper T. Yes, copper T is a very good option for her. Anything else that you can give for her? Usually when a patient comes, you have to give, no, condoms or cervical caps are just barriers. It's not a very good effective contraception. Somebody has mentioned field regularly. Lactational amenorrhea does not give 100% prevention pregnancy. We have seen many women who say, "Na feed pannittu dhaan irundha madam, ana na pregnant aiten." That's how many say, because they don't know when they got the periods. So, you know, lactational amenorrhea is not 100% preventive. So they definitely need a contraception. Puberty is a very good option. Definitely not barrier. It's not very effective. What other contraception can you give her? Yes, LNG, correct. LNG in what form? Either tablet. Progesterone only pills needs to be given, because when you give estrogen plus progesterone pills, it can reduce the feeding. So it's generally not advised in breastfeeding women. So estrogen pills are not advised in women who are breastfeeding. So it's Copper-T or progesterone only pills is the best choice for her. So you have to discuss with the patient which she would like to opt and give the contraceptive accordingly. Next slide, ma'am. So fifth scenario, we have a 23-year-old intern. She's newly married. She's preparing for her NEET exams. She's got irregular cycles. She's got cycles once in 2 months. Her BMI is around 27. She's got acne and mild hirsutism. An ultrasound suggests PCOS. She approaches you for a contraceptive, but as she's preparing for her exam, she doesn't want to fall pregnant now. So what would be the best contraception you would advise her? Anyone? Any medical students? So we have a 23-year-old woman with PCOS who's slightly overweight with mild acne and hirsutism. What would be the best contraceptive for her?
OCPs.
OCPs, correct. OCP would be the best contraception. The newer generation progesterone would be better for her, like desogestrel, which also helps metformin, which also helps her hirsutism and acne. So the newer generation OCP, progesterone containing OCP, would be a better choice. I wouldn't suggest progesterone only pill because her cycle is not regular. So she needs both estrogen and progesterone and then withdrawal. So her cycles also will be regularized, and it also help her to decrease her mild hirsutism. And apart from this, you can also give her metformin for, to decrease the insulin resistance in this patient. Okay, that's about it. If there is any doubts, I'm happy to answer. Okay, to conclude, I would say when a contraceptive is given to a patient, you have to take a full history of the patient, examine her properly, and you have to see the compliance of the patient. For a very forgetful patient, you can't go give an oral contraceptive pill, because if she misses the pill, she'll end. So you have to, take a proper history, examine the patient, see which eligibility criteria she falls into, and then depending on the patient's compliance, we are supposed to prescribe the contraception. One topic I've not touched about is abortion. The rate of septic abortions have come down significantly in India. Few years back, the rate of septic abortion used to be very high, but now the rate of septic abortions have come down significantly because of increased. But even today, I see lots of teenage pregnancy coming in. Girls who are 18 and 19, they come pregnant. I think, there is no proper awareness. They are very, reluctant to speak about it in the public. And I think there should be some address about the adolescent contraception. In abroad, it is easily available. A 13-year-old girl can easily go to the contraception clinic and ask for a contraception. In India, it's not like that. Most of them fall pregnant and most of them have irregular cycles. So when they come to the clinic, they're almost 20 weeks pregnant. It's so very difficult to handle these patients. So I think teenage contraception should be something, there should be little education about it, and also prevention of STDs, condoms is the best thing, and that needs to be used. So these are the few points that I would like to highlight regarding this topic. So if there is anything else, I can, not just medical students, any Rotary members, for them, if you have any doubts, you can ask.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
There was a case in our hospital. She's 24, unmarried. She had a OCP, but
1 minute, ma'am. 1 minute. My battery is draining out. Just a minute.
Please hold on. She'll be back. She'll be back.
Sorry for that. Please, ma'am, tell me.
Okay, there was a case who is 24, unmarried.
Okay.
She has an intercourse, but with protective pills and the condoms. But still, there was a chance of pregnancy for her. This was likely touching the abortion. So, what is the? She was like wondering if after the marriage, what are the, what if the contraception fails?
So,
For because she don't want to have
had
any.
a 24-year-old female who took oral contraceptive pills as well as used condoms and still fell pregnant. Is that what you meant, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. So she could have missed the pill. Many patients do that, but they don't tell you. They just told you, no, I took correctly. But if you take the pill, you would have definitely see they could have missed the pill. That is one thing. The condoms can easily slip or it can cause breakage. And any kind of contraception still has a failure rate. Even with sterilization, there is a failure rate. So any kind of contraception has a failure rate. And second thing is if they're taking any other drug, say so an anti-epileptic or any other drug, then the effect of contraception can be less. So that we have to see, the history we have to see whether they are having any other drug or whether she's overweight or did she take the contraception regularly, even if she has missed one day during the, during the fertile period, and if she's had intercourse, then, there is a high risk that she can, there's a chance for the failure of contraception. So those history needs to be taken clearly, and any other drug intake or any medical issues. And OCPs are one of the best contraception with very low failure rates. So I think she can carry, she's got no other history or anything. If she takes it regularly, it shouldn't be a problem. If she's someone sick, then she has to go for contraception like implants or like depot injections, where she can take it once in 3 months and still there will be a good range of contraception.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Anything else?
Is that all from the doctors? Dr. Sharanya is there to clear your doubts. Doctors are requested to ask your queries. Okay. Thank you, Kavya.
Thanks, Kavya.
Yeah. Shall we bid a goodbye to Dr. Sharanya? Okay, thank you. Sharanya, it was really wonderful to have you in this session. Though we have some technical problems as usual, you made it well. You made it a very interactive session, and I hope the doctors who are present here would have been using the PowerPoint presentations in a very right way. And one more thing is, doctors who are here, you will be getting the PowerPoint presentations through your friends in a WhatsApp group. We'll be giving the PowerPoint presentation of the doctor to you. And the certificates will be reaching you through mail. Thank you, students. Thank you. And now it's time to say thank you, and vote of thanks will be given by the Secretary, Rotarian Dr. Shaima Bennett.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, Shaima. Carry
on. Announcement. Tomorrow we have paper bag awareness day. So get ready. If you wish to participate, you can send the photos to the registered mobile numbers. So on 17th of July, we have a special virtual program on International Justice Day. So kindly attend, and I will send you the details later. And vote of thanks.
Shaima, 1 minute, Shaima. Shaima, sorry for interrupting. We have a felicitation by our Assistant Governor. We'll ask her to felicitate, and then you start with the vote of thanks. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay.
Sir, it's felicitation by our AG Assistant Governor. Please, sir.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, sir. You're audible.
Okay. respected President Rotarian Lata Mathias. First of all, I should thank her for say a special thanks to her for the very good adjective given to me. India. Thank you, Lata Mathias. Then our able secretary, Dr. Shaima Bennett of the Rotary Club of Nagarkoil Queens. Today's chief guest of this virtual meeting and patiently waiting so far, our good friend, Vice Governor for this year, Dr. K. Vijay Kumar. Myself and Dr. Vijay Kumar were sitting and chatting up to nearly 3 o'clock today. He came to another installation function, that is the Rotary Club of Nagarkoil Emerald, my own club. He was there. Then he went to Samyar Madan and now participating and patiently waiting so far, even in his busy schedule. I am wondering how it is possible for him to go and attend all these meetings in such a patient way. Thank you, Doctor. Today's guest speaker, Dr. Saranya Rajesh. We had a very good lecture with all these slides and interaction session. It's very nice. She is very expert in her discipline and we had a very nice time. I thank all the office bearers of the Rotary Club of Nagarkoil Queens for arranging such a wonderful faculty. Today we have 2 faculties, one Dr. Vijay Kumar and Saranya. So very nice. It's a very nice meeting. I enjoyed it. And my co-ages are here, Rotarians, fellow Rotarians, well-wishers, and so many people are attending. I think more than 100 participated earlier. Now it is 67. It's a very nice gathering. I thank all for all your efforts, especially our membership development chairman, Marina Rajappa, for all their efforts. And now, today I have to say a few words about the topic. Today being the World Population Day, I have chosen a very apt topic, the threat because of the enormous growth of the population to deal with by 2 eminent faculties. The enormous growth of world population is really a threat to the entire universe. When our population increases, the facilities available to the species will decrease. It's a common phenomenon combined with both. This is a common rule also. The current world population as of June 2020, according to the most recent United Nations estimates, is 7.8 billion. 184 countries indicated that rapid human population growth, the primary driver behind it. Many ecological and even social threats. However, even though the fertility rate is decreasing globally, it is still high in Africa. I sincerely wish and greet you all, especially the officers of this prestigious club, for a wonderful year ahead, and I congratulate the 2 faculties also for their wonderful speech in the 2 technical sessions. I wish to express the best wishes from our AG, AKS PNB Murugadas, to this club, and I remind you about the membership growth and also the contribution for the PR. Please remind this, mention it in your club meetings and try to increase it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful felicitation. Let me now move on to Rotarian Shaima Bennett for her vote of thanks.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, you are audible, Shaima. Could you please? Sorry for interrupting you.
It's okay, ma'am. Good evening to all. The root of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation of goodness. It's my pleasure to take over the session to the ending with vote of thanks. So let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's virtual professional development program a resounding success. First and foremost, it's my privilege to thank our chief guest, District Vice Governor, Rotarian Past District Governor, Major Donor Dr. K. Vijayakumar. நம்மால் ஆகும் முயற்சிகள் செய்வோம், நம் தலைமுறைகளை நலமாய் வாழ வைப்போம், மனித உயிர் உயர்வோடு மற்ற உயிர்களையும் காப்போம், பூமி பந்து வெறும் மனிதருக்கு மட்டுமல்ல மற்ற அனைத்து உயிர்களுக்கும் சொந்தம், இந்த இயற்கையின் கட்டளையை மதித்து நடப்போம் என்று அழகாக சிறப்பாக உரையாற்றின சருக்கு we will be ever be grateful to you for your kind words, sir, and we are happy that you swiped your precious moment for us. Do you know the difference between a beautiful woman and a charming one? A beautiful is a woman you notice, and a charming woman is the one who notices you. Yes, Dr. Sanya ma'am, you are beautiful, and your humbleness was seen when you accepted Rotarian Tamil Selvi ma'am's invitation. We are really happy to hear that, and really, actually, whenever the person's growth, சின்ன வயசுல இருந்து வேற ஒரு வரும்போது நிறைய பேர் வந்து வந்த ஏணிய மறக்கிறது உண்டு. ஆனா you are not like that, and you are really happy. We are happy to hear that, and your presentation was very interactive and it was in nutshell. Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring words, and we assure that we will confirm with the good virtues you shared. பூவின் மொட்டுகள் போல் மௌனமாக இருந்தால், மலர்ந்த பூக்கள் போல் மௌனமாக இருந்தால் அது நன்றாக இருக்காது. அதனால் மலர்ந்த பூக்கள் போல எங்களை ஊக்குவித்து எப்பொழுதும் சிரித்து கொண்டே இருக்கும் மென்மையான குலங்களை உடைய எங்களது அசிஸ்டன்ட் கவர்னர். We are grateful for your good words and presence, sir. We hope your support and guidance on all our future events. Let me extend my gratitude towards our President, Rotarian Lata Mathias. Dear ma'am, your tireless effort always bring out the best of all, and we are thankful for that. Thank you, ma'am. You gave a perfect start. Next, our membership chairman, past President Rotarian Marina Rajappa, the woman behind our success. It's your skill and knowledge that has led our club to reach our goal. I would like to thank our brilliant and truly outstanding past secretary, our bulletin editor, Rotarian Tamil Selvi Madan Kumar, and special thanks to our charming princess Chinju for helping us technically and for making this virtual program well organized. I must mention a deep sense of appreciation to our maternity and childcare district chairman, past president Rotarian PHF Tushi Benjamin, and I'm very grateful to Rotarian Dr. Abhija Jaishlal for your valuable contribution. Thanks to Mr. Stewart, Jafia and Jonah for your valuable participation. I heartily congratulate all our assistant governors, past assistant governors, president, past presidents, secretary, and Rotarians from different zones. And I also special thanks to our district governor-elect Rotarian Jason, past assistant governor Murali Jay Prakash, past assistant governor Dr. Past assistant governor Abdul Salam and Dr. Ram Kumar, and Rotarian M. Shankar, and the presidents who attended the program. Thank you so much. I will extend my gratitude towards Sri Mukambika Medical College students, Kulashekaram, Meenakshi Mission Medical College students, and also the students from Jitmar Pondicherry and students from Sri Kokilam Medical College students. I would express my gratitude towards Rajas Dental College students and SRM Medical College students, Kartakulathu. And I would like to thank our Rotarians of Nagarkoil Queens. Teamwork always brings success. Yes, your immense support made the day wonderful, and I'm sure that together we will achieve great things in all our projects. So, வாழ்க மக்கள், வாழ்க மற்றுயிர், வாழ்க நானிலம், வாழ்க இயற்கை. Let be a change maker, and be an ambassador of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shema. May I now request Rotarian Lata Matthias, President, to adjourn the meeting. Shall we adjourn the meeting? Anna?
Yes.